Hello everyone, this is Brian. Today I will send Lab 17, Managing Active Directory and Civil Replication for Win 700. I have completed all 5 exercises and will now demonstrate the results. Let's begin. Exercise 17.1 involves demoting storage from being the domain controller for datum.com. As you can see in the server manager, storage is now a standalone server. The Active Directory domain services role has been completely removed. The system properties confirm that the storage one now is in the workgroup, not join any domain. The datum.com has been completely removed. This complete exercise 17.1. Now let's move to exercise 17.2. Involve promoting storage as a second domain controller for my Seneca ID. In Server Manager, we can see both Active Directory domain services and DNS server role has been installed. Now let's go to the local server. The system properties so that's the storage one is now a member of my SenecaID.com domain as the domain controller. Let me go to the RWDC-174. On RWDC-174 in an Active Directory user and computer, we can see both RWDC-174 and storage listed in the domain controller OU. This confirms we have two functioning domain controller with replication config. This complete exercise 17.2. Next is exercise 17.3. Focus on manual replication using Active Directory site and services. Here's in the entity setting for storage one. We can see the replication connection that were created. We click properties, connection. To the automatically generated connection from RWDC-174 was created by knowledge consistency checker, which automatically manages the replication topology. During this exercise, I also manual force replication by right-click the connection and selecting the replicate now. And I created an additional manual connection to demonstrate administrative control over replication. Now let me answer the question for exercise 17.3. What tool did you use to replicate between two domain controllers? The answer is I use Active Directory site and services console to replicate between the two domain controllers. Now let's move to exercise 17.4. The since all command with start iPad. Let me show you the command. With start iPad parameter force synchronization across all naming context and all domain controller. Let me run and highlight the results. So the following replication completed successfully. As you can see throughout this output, the replication is completed successfully between RWDC-174 and storage in the corporate site across all partitions, forest DNS zones, domain DNS zone, schema configuration, the main domain partition, and even the trial domain partition. You notice some warning and error here about contacting storage and in the default first sign name. This is a residual metadata from when storage was initially removed before being assigned to the corporate side. The important thing is that's all actual replication operation between the domain controller in the corporate side is completed successfully, as solved by the success message throughout the output. Now let's run the second command. Admin. Yes. Summary. The rep summary command provide a consolidated view of replication health across the environment. This shows the replication success and failure account for each domain. We can see the replication activity between our domain controller with a successful synchronization we just observed. Now the third command is rep admin /q. The Q command shows any pending replication operation. An empty or minimal queue indicate replication is current. Now let me answer the two questions for exercise 17.4. Question 1. What tool did you use to force Active Directory replication? The answer is grep admin command with the /syn all parameter. Question 2. What tool did you use to check the status of Active Directory replication? The answer is grep admin command with the /rep summary and /q parameter. Finally, exercise 17.5. Exercise 17.5 focus on configuring password replication policies for read-only domain controller. I recreated an RODC account called RODC-174 config its password replication policies and then delete it as a part of exercise cleanup. As you can see in the domain controller OU, RODC is no longer present. During the exercise, I also created the test user called user1 here. And I also created a test computer called computer1. These objects were used to demonstrate password replication configuration. Let me explain what I config in this exercise. I open RODC properties and navigated to password replication policy tab. By default, only member of the allow RODC password replication group can have their password cat on an RODC. I modify this group to include both user1 and computer1. This is important because the computer account also have password that need to be cached for authentication. Then I attempt to use password repopulation to the advanced setting. However, repopulation failed because the RODC was only a pre-state account. There were no actual physical server running. So you can only repopulate password to an operational RODC. After demonstrating the configuration, I deleted an RODC account, which is why it no longer appears in the domain controller OU. Now let me answer the question for exercise 17.5. How did you configure password replication properties? The answer is I config password replication properties by accessing the RODC properties in Active Directory user and computer, navigating to password replication policy tab, modifying allow RODC password replication group to include both user1 and computer1, and then using the advanced button to access password repopulation setting. This is complete my demonstration of Lab 17, managing Active Directory and sys4 replication. I successfully completed all 5 exercises. Exercise 17.1, demoting storage from a datum.com domain. Exercise 17.2, promoting storage as a second domain controller for my Seneca ID. Exercise 17.3, configuring manual replication using Active Directory site and services. Exercise 17.4, using rep admin to force and monitor replication. Finally, exercise 17.5, configuring password replication policies for an RODC. I have answered all required questions. Thank you for watching.